Leading things off, renters across the country are losing their homes daily. Joining us with all the information on eviction and tips on avoiding it, on how you can handle it, we have Gail Allen. She's helped me out with a lot of different things too. She's with the No Fico Score Group. How are you? Welcome.
Thank you,
Happy
and
New
Happy
Year to
New
you.
Year to
Yeah.
you. It's good to be
Are
here.
you still trying to get over it?
Yeah, well, I think we both are.
Yeah. And thank you for coming to the Make the Great Awards.
Oh, Make the Great Awards was wonderful. I
Yeah.
enjoyed the music, the people were wonderful, the food was delicious.
Oh, thank you, thank you,
Had a
thank you.
nice time.
Yeah, we do it every year.
Yeah.
You know, we are dealing with the youngsters.
Oh, I think it's a
helping
great
youngsters
program.
get what they need out of life.
Absolutely.
And what we do, the Make the Grade, it's a collaboration between parent, teacher, student, community, clergy. We have financial literacy and
Yes.
health. So we raise money
Wonderful.
for all those things.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah. So what do we have? People are getting evicted all over the place. What's going on? What's happening?
Well, we have an economy that no longer is supporting home ownership. The problem is job loss. We have retailers that are closing down.
Lord and
because,
Taylor's just closed down
Yeah,
Fifth
just
Avenue.
Lord and can you believe it? And I wanted to cry. And because I didn't get down there to catch the sales.
Yeah.
You know? But the point is that people are being laid off. And you've got, of course, cyber shopping is really big now.
Is that the situation? People are going,
That's one reason for retailers not being able to pay to keep employees on the floor. And oftentimes when you go to a department store, you look around, can someone help me please? Because you feel like you're the only one there in that department. There aren't enough people there to help. Also because...
So people have more confidence in online shopping now. But what about the higher end things? You don't want to shop for that online, do you? But I did see something where you put a coin in a slot machine and this car comes up. You can, it's like putting
What's
a
that?
coin in to get potato chips out of a machine. Well, you can go online and shop for a car now, and they send you this coin, and you go to a location, you put the coin in,
Well,
and the car comes up.
I mean, you're proving my point exactly. What about the robots? I mean,
Yeah,
you're speaking now of the salesman who would really make a career out of selling the car, right?
Yeah,
He's no longer around.
Wow, we need to speak to a person, though.
Absolutely. I would want to. If I'm spending that kind of money, I would like to
Yeah,
speak with someone.
Absolutely.
But people are losing jobs, okay? The economy is uneven. Now, but look at the stock market last week. It was up, it was down, it's all
Yeah.
over the place. And part of that is due to the type of leadership we have in Washington right now. I was just discussing this with someone. Today is our first day of the new Congress.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to a change.
Do you think with Nancy Pelosi in charge of the House, that things would change a little bit?
I think
Or
Nancy-
be better checks and balances?
I think Nancy Pelosi is exactly what we need. I think she's going to be a great Speaker of the House. And I think we're going to see leadership in Washington for a change.
Yeah.
For example, the SALT law, that limits the amount of money that you can write off for your taxes for real estate to $10,000. So if you are a small investor, you've got 3 or 4 pieces of property, and this property is $7,000, another is $8,000, you can only write off $10,000. What is that going to do to the real estate market? Okay, we're going to have a tsunami of foreclosures. And so when you stay in a house after you've been foreclosed on, what happens? You become evicted. All right, so you're no different than a renter. So we've got to change all of that. And I think the way we change that is by looking at the programs. How do we buy homes?
Yeah.
What rules and regulations are we going to keep? Should it be so difficult to lower your interest rate? Should someone really pay 9%, 8% to own a property? Or should it just be maybe 3%, 4%, 5%? We've got to reevaluate our whole system of selling and buying real estate, because without real estate, we don't have a middle class.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist.
And then I don't know, I was thinking when you were saying that, the interest rates on a lot of these homes, and not only homes, but credit cards. I was looking through some things, and I saw one as high as 27%.
Can you
That's
believe that?
loan shocking.
That's a
Heck is
nosebleed.
going on?
It's a nosebleed.
It is.
But interest rates in real estate are going up.
Yeah.
We're looking at rising rates, and that's another reason why people are losing their homes. And landlords are losing buildings, and so when landlord loses a building, eventually the tenants must leave. So
Yeah.
it's an effect that trickles down to everyone.
So you said this is not an economy that's conducive for people to keep their houses? Or it's not a housing market?
Well, you know, it's a housing market that we have right now. You best bet believe 2019 is going to be for buyers, because
It'll be a buyer's market.
Yeah, it'll be a buyer's market for investors and first-time home buyers. All right, because there's a lot of shadow inventory out on the market now, where you have banks who are foreclosing on property, evicting people, and not being able to sell that property
The
at the
banks
sheriff's
don't
sale.
want that. The banks.
Well, they
don't-
want payment.
They want the money. They don't
want the money.
They don't want the
Right.
properties.
But if you put too much of the inventory out on the market, it starts competing with the newer homes
gotcha. Yeah.
and your regular market. So they try to hold it back, but eventually you've got to let it go. And when they do let it go, prices will continue to go down. But again, I'm hoping that Nancy Pelosi revisits the loan modification problem that we have, where people, if you're making $200,000 a year, oh, what a great time you're having, okay? And then you lose that job. How difficult is it to replace that income? It's very difficult in this market. And so you're going to fall after you go through your savings. There's nothing to help you. We should have programs in place to help the homeowner keep the property.
Yeah.
You know, we should do something about the minimum wage, $15. People are still fighting for a $15 raise. You know, what can you really do with $15 an hour?
Yeah.
Not very much. And how many hours can an individual work to take care of and support their family? So if you're out there and you're listening and you have a problem with evictions, you went Christmas shopping, because that happens too.
Now it's time to pay all that stuff back.
Yeah,
right?
well,
It's
overspending.
January.
But there are agencies out there that can help.
Okay.
And you can visit my website, askgail@gmail.com.
I'm going to come to you for a loan.
Come to me.
A low interest.
Absolutely.
Is it 3%? Can I get 3%?
3%? No, you can't get 3%
Can you get 4%?
anymore. You may be able to get 4% if you do an adjustable interest rate, you know,
Okay.
an ARM, you know.
So it's 3% or 4% for a certain period of time, like for 5
see,
years,
well,
and then after that.
again, we should do something about that.
Yeah.
I mean, as a society, we should not allow bankers to dictate to us what the interest rates are going to be. 6-month LIBOR, okay, sounds great, 4%. Okay, in 6 months it can go to what, 5%. Another 6 months, 6%. And it can go up as much as maybe 8 points. So before you know, you could be at 14%. It depends on what happens to the market and the index that your interest rate is tied into.
Yeah.
As a people, Americans should take more control of how they buy and sell real estate.
Now you got to be careful, because if you get a card, if you get interest, a credit card, and you have a low interest credit card, or they give you a low interest loan, you can get into trouble if you start paying late on that, because that thing would shoot up to loan sharking territory.
Absolutely, absolutely. The best way to handle a credit card, though, is if you have a ceiling, a $10,000 ceiling, keep a 50% loan to value. So only go no further than $5,000 on that $10,000 card with it, you know, because this way you keep your credit, you score higher, and you really don't have to worry about your interest rate escalate. Again, who has control over your interest rate? You don't. We don't. Banks do. You see?
So what do you recommend?
So what do I recommend? I recommend that we have some type of legislation that basically says, hey, we, as individual taxpayers and consumers, we want control of the interest rates that we pay. We want input, at least, and not to just be victims, laid back and be told what, you know, Mr. Lee, Dr. Lee, your interest rate's going to be 7% because 5 years ago you had this incident. 5 years ago you were a different person. What are you talking about? That's what I think should happen. I think people like Nancy Pelosi, that's showing leadership with the Democratic Party, I believe we're going to see a stronger, better America. People are going to be more excited about waving the flag for everyone. Everyone.
But it can get through the House, but it can get stuck in the Senate or on the president's desk.
Well, you know what? We can work that out too. One day at a time. Today's a great day. A new Congress. One day at a time. God is good.
All the time.
Yes.
Okay, so where do we go for more tips?
Hey, you can call me at 973-389-3347 if you have a problem with your mortgage and you're looking at the possibility of requesting the loan modification, but you don't know what to do, you don't know how to start. I have a free loan modification guide on my website that you can actually download, and you can see your numbers, and you can say, oh, I'm spending too much here. Maybe I should spend less. And you can do that by going to askgail@gmail.com.
Oh, we're going to continue asking. Thank you so much for all this great
Thank you
information.
for having me.
All right.
Thank
And
you.
hopefully everything will.
Oh, we've
Get
got
up and up.
we've got a great country.
I've done some things too. I took your advice and I'm going to go and
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Let me know how you make
I
out.
got some extra money that I want to mess around with.
Oh really? Give us a call.
All right, Gail Allen, No FICO Score Group, LLC. Give her a big round of applause, everybody.
Thank you.
Here in the studio and at home. We'll take a break and come back with more next.